a Tibetan comes in and maybe you're checking on your phone, you're sitting there, and the Tibetan will go, "That's cool, man, that's cool. Let me see that picture. Is that your mom?"
Whoa, yes, it is my mommy.
They have like no whatsoever. They have no personal boundaries. They're just curious.
Welcome to this new episode, and today I am here with Tonda. How are you, Tonda?
Hello, good morning.
Very
I'm
nice.
good.
Tonda is an acroyoga teacher, as well as being a very interesting person who I met when we were rehearsing for our musical, so he's a very good singer as well. But today is about acroyoga. Tonda, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience in life and your journey up until now?
Acroyoga is something I became very passionate the moment I got introduced to it. It was actually by a friend in the park. She had just found it somewhere, and she brought it to our town. She said, like, let's meet in the park and let's play. And I didn't know what she was talking about, so we did. And my first experience was actually being flown by a woman who's smaller than me. She lifted me up in the air. That was quite impressive already, and then we switched places, and then I was carrying her, and it just felt like super good for my back, for my whole body. It was just a very grounding and relaxing feeling at the same time. So we got into it right away, and we started practicing almost every day, and a year later already, I was a teacher. I was invited to the 7th or 10th, teacher training by acroyoga.org, which is the founding company of this movement. It's like about 15 years old now. And at that teacher training, we had a vision quest. Like, where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? Like, where do you want to be 6 months from now? And mine was incredibly clear. I said I wanted to be in beautiful countries, maybe at the beaches somewhere, and islands, and I just want to teach acroyoga, and every month I want to have like about 4 or 5 acroyoga events, like teaching a workshop, or attending a festival, or teaching a class, or a jam, whatever it is. And this became true, like to the point. Like half a year later, I started my first teaching tour in Southeast Asia. It started in Taiwan, and then I went to Vietnam and Thailand and Philippines. And I was doing exactly that, and actually I haven't stopped for 7 or 8 years after that started.
Wow, that's such a good lifestyle, isn't it? So, touring the world and teaching your passion. Can you tell us a little bit more about your sort of background before coming into sort of the acroyoga teaching role that you have now? I mean, I know that you're originally from the Czech Republic, is that right? You lived in Germany a long time?
Yeah, I never lived, I only lived for 3 months in the Czech Republic. I was born in Germany already. My parents emigrated during Prague Spring in '68. 9 months later, my brother was born. And then 3 years later, I was born. I actually really struggled with that identity question, like, who am I? Am I Czech or am I German? My parents spoke Czech at home, so I grew up bilingual. And I struggled until I was, I think, like 25, until I finally figured out that I cannot figure out what I am. There is no you are German or you are Czech. At best, you're a mix of both, and it's exactly that, what it turned out to be. Yet, even to this day, even when I have never lived there, only like once for 3 months, when I go to Czech Republic, I feel at home. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really make sense, right? But that's what it is. It's the only place where I feel some roots.
Very nice. And also what is very interesting about you is the journey that you did recently. You're a big cyclist, is that right? So you did a long cycling tour. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I did a few of these actually. The whole cycling, that was never planned. I was just passionate. I liked cycling all my life. And I had this romantic vision. I don't know, you probably read Hermann Hesse.
Sure, Siddhartha, Steppenwolf, and yes.
Yes, and he also has a lot of actually traveling stories. And he lived that was like the late 19th century, so traveling was different. Traveling was by horse carriage. There was no internet. There was not even the phone really yet. So yeah, communication was by post, by mail. So everything was so much slower. So when you travel through Europe, that might take like 2 years. Now when we travel through Europe, we do that in 4 weeks if you come from the US on Interrail or something like that. So he has this incredible slowness and connection with people on his travels, and he's really very capable of conveying that in his writings. And I thought if that was like possible 100 years ago, that should be possible probably today as well, if you just want to do it. So I saved up very little money. I think it was 400 euros or Deutschmarks, I don't even know. And I had the goal to travel from Berlin to Venice, yeah, with a bicycle, so crossing the Alps. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even take a tent because I thought I would be sleeping under the skies. So I had a sleeping bag, but I didn't. I also didn't have enough money to pay for accommodation every night. It was just my idea that it would somehow work out, and it exactly worked out. Like, people are amazing, and whenever I met people, they wanted to give me something. They wanted to give me their time, they wanted to give me their breakfast, they wanted to share their housing with me, or just help me, give me some water for the way. It's really amazing, and it absolutely worked the way that I imagined. You can even knock on a stranger's door, like, hello, I'm traveling, can I sleep in your shed? Never anything happened to me like that, never. So I made that happen. It worked. It took me 4 weeks, and it was so beautiful that I then just kept on doing that. Actually, my map on that trip, that was my first trip, I had the map from the Atlas of Europe on one A4 page. That was my map to go from Berlin to Venice.
Big picture map.
Yes, and you don't need anything else. You can ask people like, okay, which way is Hungary?
All the main cities are on the map probably, so you say,
yes,
where's Vienna or Budapest?
Yes, yes, exactly. So that works. And then I just kept on doing that. I had a few other trips, and then they kept getting bigger and bigger because you want more and more. Also, you get probably more experienced. It's a skill to be like traveling like that. It's something you learn. Maybe first time you do it, I don't know, it's a little bit awkward, or you don't even know where to buy food, or are you gonna like make it through the week or anything. You get more experience, it gets easier and easier. But also the challenges then increase. So I had this dream to cross Himalaya and to come to India. That was the original plan. And in the end, it turned into going from Berlin to here, where we are today.
Cycling all the way.
Cycling to Koh Phangan, yes.
So fun, really a great project. I'm a bit of a traveler myself, I've been to 60 countries, and when you say that the world is a good place and people tend to be naturally good, and be helpful, I cannot really, agree more, because I did couch surfing in the past, I did backpacking, I did a 1 year around the world trip as well. And I really believe that, that people are naturally good. I got this like a more Rousseau kind of, philosophy, if you want, I honestly think people are good, and if you have the right attitude, the right resonance, then you get help all the time, right? And were you teaching Acroyoga when you were, cycling around the world?
I was also doing Acroyoga on the road because I like it so much, and then so while I was in Europe, I stopped in all the communities that I know, and I was teaching in Kiev, and I was teaching in Poland, in Warsaw also. So on the way, I picked a couple of spots where I could do. And then there was in Sumy in Ukraine. It's just like a very, very small city, but they have a huge acro community with a very high level. That was just a coincidence, or like the people from Kiev sent me there. And then in Kazakhstan, I have a friend, and I also taught a workshop there in Kazakhstan. And then when I didn't know anyone in China, so I was just picking off people that I met, and I just tried to explain, to show them, and made them fly. Like I flew, there was a Tibetan kid. It's amazing when there's like zero language overlap. Everything is just your vibration or your movement, and you can show it. And then even that will be enough for someone to trust, to lift them up, no? It's amazing.
Tonda, let's delve into acroyoga a little bit more now.
Yes.
So you're talking about flying, because of course there is a person that kind of hold the lower position, and then there's a person on the top, on your legs, right, typically?
Yes, yeah, let me explain a little bit. It's actually born out of a couple, an Olympics sports acrobat, Jason Nemer, and his girlfriend at the time, Jenny Sauer-Klein, who was an accomplished yoga teacher. And they had a third one, a friend, which was Carolyn Cohen. So Jason was supplying the acrobatics part, Jenny was supplying the yoga part, and Carolyn Cohen was supplying the Thai massage part. And these are the three elements that are combined in acroyoga.
Thai massage, I really didn't know. That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't know.
It makes
okay.
sense. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I will show you later. I will show you actually. There's a way of doing a Thai massage in the air. It's called flying therapeutics, and it's amazing because you can use gravity to stretch, twist, and even massage the body in places where you usually cannot come. If you imagine your spine is hanging upside down, then you create that extra space, and then when you twist, you can go a lot longer, a lot deeper, or when you massage between the vertebrae, there's a lot more space. It's amazing. Plus it adds actually one level of trust, of letting yourself go. For a lot of people, it's an incredibly healing experience to give their bodies and their safeties so clearly into the hand of someone else, or the hand and feet. It's incredibly healing. I hardly ever get to fly this, flying being like the person on top. So I don't really know how it feels exactly, but I can tell from the experiences from all the people that I do this therapy with, I can tell it's incredibly healing.
It's lovely indeed, and whenever there is sort of a pair, a bonding exercise where levels of trust are involved, also the connection with the person is very special, isn't it? It must be a lovely way of meeting new people, doing acroyoga together.
Oh yeah, the cool thing about acroyoga is you can do it anywhere. You don't need anything. All you need is like another person, and you don't even need another person because there are people all over the planet. So if you're alone and you want to do acroyoga, you actually just find someone and gain their trust and make them fly. It's amazing. And yes. So it really, the whole thing, for me at least, had the biggest factor is about trust and communication. That's the grease that makes the machine work, if you want to go in that imagery. Without that, nothing works. And we all have fears, and those are well-founded fears. Like when you cross a 6-lane highway, you're going to be afraid to get hit by the car, and that's actually a very useful thing. So also people are afraid of falling, and there are different levels to this. And it's actually, I learned a lot about communicating and about taking these fears away. And there are so simple processes that everyone can follow. You can do a flow chart. Do this, do this, do this, do this, and you will make a person trust. It's amazingly simple.
Because communication, people think about speech, of course, the way you say things, important, but then body language, attitude, even like some sort of energy that you have, sort of vibration.
That's a very good point, because I don't even know who said it, but someone said the body can't lie. So, yes. And also because I've done it with different language people, so we can't even talk, is really you are thrown back onto your body, and all these experiences are real. Like, how are you going to lie with your body? It's basically impossible. And sometimes people, they will tell me like it's so much fun, I love it, and they are excited and they love that excitement, but at the same time I can tell, everyone actually can tell who looks closely, they are afraid. They're afraid of falling or afraid of the situation, and still they think like the expectation for them is to be happy and to have fun in that moment. It's not. So they will say that, but you can immediately see and feel in the body like no, they are afraid. So I let them actually enjoy the fun they have, but I also take the time to take care of their fears so they can actually really enjoy what's going on. So if things really get well, if they go well in the acroyoga, there's a kind of stillness that happens. It doesn't matter if you move in flow, if you connect different poses, or if you are just in one pose. But there's a lot of balancing involved, and if you think about it, the balance will reach, there is like one point maybe where there is a balance and everything else is off. So if you're off, you have to move to get to the balance, and then if you move too far, you have to move again. And then there's this magic moment where like both stop moving and you are just in balance, and that's when you really start to feel a person, and it's like the communication jets or the energies just start to circulate. It's something you can't, maybe in dance you can create that also similar. I don't know how to dance really, but it looks very similar. It's this kind of unity.
Sure. It's lovely. Having practices that connect people that are healthy physically and psychologically, emotionally is wonderful. And Acroyoga certainly looks amazing. Me personally, I did a few times and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I know that you guys used to meet on Zen Beach for sunset, then sometimes near Sitara on Ha Chao Pao. And now there's a new place called Tipi.
Yeah, there's a new gym called Tipi, which is run by an American called Sky. He's a super nice guy, and that gym is not like a typical gym in the sense there are no machines. There is a punching bag, and there are a few weights around, but it's a very clean and clear space with a beautiful energy. And for us, it has mats, which is useful. It's when we play at the beach, there's always sand in someone's face or ear, and then so at Tipi we don't have to worry about that. And it's also, if it starts to rain or something, like we're good. We can always go.
Very nice. So tell us a little bit about Koh Phangan. I mean, you ended up here because, of course, this is such a beautiful place with an interesting community. If you're a yoga kind of person, you tend to gravitate towards Koh Phangan. But I mean, what do you like about the island, and what are your future plans?
Actually, Koh Phangan was not. I didn't plan to go here. I was still cycling. My final goal was Bali, and I had a feeling I was actually already close to the Malaysian border when I had the clear feeling that there is going to be something like a lockdown. I had no idea what exactly, but I felt this is not the time to travel possibly, or like, do I want to stay in Malaysia for, I thought it was 3 months or something in the beginning, and now it turned out to be like 1.5 years already. So I decided, no, I don't want to be in Malaysia. I want to go back to Koh Phangan, where I had been just before, like a couple of weeks before. And if I have to stay in one place for a lockdown, then that would be my first choice. And it's exactly what happened. I'm really glad I did that, because I totally enjoy being here with the community of people, the nature, the kind of secludedness. I mean, we can only be reached by a boat, so that gives us a special status. And nature is strong here and is very present and not uninhibited. That sounds wrong, but it's clean. It's pretty clean. So that's very nice.
And the future plans, I mean, it's difficult to make plans right now. I know you have an intention potentially to go and bring more of Acroyoga into China, is that right? That's your long-term plan possibly? Or?
Yes, I'm planning a teaching tour with my friend from Taiwan, who actually speaks fluent Chinese or Mandarin. I'm learning, I'm studying Chinese, and we are planning to go to China for about 2 months, and then teach Acroyoga in 10 cities along the East Coast, like Hong Kong, Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and then Xi'an, Chongqing in the middle of China, and maybe Kunming, Dali for sure. Dali is kind of the hippie hotspot in China. Yes, and I can't wait to bring Acroyoga to these people, because like when there was tourism going on, and like whenever we saw a Chinese group of tourists, they can seem maybe very noisy and maybe even annoying sometimes, but they're super fun people.
I remember traveling there, just being a foreigner, having so much attention on trains, on buses, everybody coming on to me saying, oh, hello, hello, hello. I don't know if it's like that anymore, but when was the last time you were in China?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
I experienced that, but the craziest part is actually in Tibetan China. So there's a political Tibet, but there's which is pretty much, it's not closed. There's just an entrance fee. You have to pay a lot of money to go, and then they stick you with a guide and a translator, so they can watch you, of course.
Guide and translator.
Yes, that's okay. So you could go, but I was not prepared to pay that amount of money. But around this Tibet is also Tibetan. It's a 95% Tibetans who live there. Every restaurant is Tibetan. There is no Chinese influence at all. It's actually less Tibetan than Tibet itself, because a lot of Han Chinese got asked to work in Tibet. And in this like Tibet where I traveled outside the borders, is like people are amazingly curious. So if you are a foreigner in a restaurant and you go and eat, and then a Tibetan comes in and maybe you're checking on your phone, you're sitting there, and the Tibetan will go, "That's cool, man, that's cool. Let me see that picture. Is that your mom?"
Whoa, yes, it is my mommy.
They have like no whatsoever. They have no personal boundaries. They're just curious. Yeah. So I can't wait to do like one thing, because we talked so much about the Acroyoga. Okay, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a video or a picture or something, but why don't we move this couch like 2 or 3 meters back and I'll pick you up.
Tonda, well, thanks a lot for this fun interview today, and best of luck with your Koh Phangan living and Chinese travels. Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. Bye-bye.